Hello viewers, this is Karthik. From the last two sessions, we have been learning about the single dimensional array. Here we have an example we have seen in last session. Now here we are storing a student information. Here the name, then marks 1, then marks 2, then marks 3. So finally we are displaying the result here. So name, then marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, then total, right? If you observe, in this single dimensional array, we can store only one record. I mean, only one student information. For suppose, if you want to store multiple students' records, then we cannot store in a single array. For that, what we need to do? We need to take multiple arrays, right? So instead of taking the multiple single dimensional array, here we can use two-dimensional array. So today concept is two-dimensional array, how to work with the two-dimensional array. So what exactly the single dimensional array? If array contains only one row or only one column, that is known as single dimensional array. Then what about two-dimensional array? Here we have the two-dimensional array. I'm taking this one, same size with the column 5. Now this is known as two-dimensional array. So the definition is if an array contains more than one row and more than one column, then it is known as two-dimensional array. So as we seen in previous example, in this example, we can store those type of records, n number of records in this two-dimensional array by simply increasing the rows. So how many rows you want, you can take. So in a single variable, you can store 50 students record, 100 students record, or 1000 students records. That is up to you, right? So anyway, just we are focusing to learn how to work with the two-dimensional array. Now this is the two-dimensional array. Same like you need to remember always the index value starts with 0. But here we have two indexes. The first one is the rows and the second one is a column. So before going to in depth, now here I will show you the single dimensional array syntax. Here this is the single dimensional array syntax, right? So here we are using like this. But whereas coming to the two-dimensional array, we have rows and columns. Okay, let me tell you once again. Here we have only one row in single dimensional array or only one column, right? But whereas coming to the two-dimensional array, we have multiple rows and multiple columns. That is why we need to indicate here rows and columns. The same way here also we need to place separator. So this is the way to declare the two-dimensional array. This is single dimensional array and this is two-dimensional array. So always remember the index value start with 0. In the sense this is the 0th row and this one is the first row. The first place is for rows and the second place is for columns. So now this is the 0th column, in the sense first column, then index is 1, 2, 3, 4. If you observe carefully, now here we have two rows, right? So 2 in the sense the last index value of a row is 1. So now here we have 5 columns. So the last index value of the last column is 4. So how we can identify to initialize the values or to print the values? So with the help of index values. So this is 0, 0 and this is 0, 1 and then this is 0, 2, this is 0, 3 and this is 0, 4. In the same way, here it is 1, 0, then it is 1, 1, then 1, 2, then it is 1, 3 and finally it is 1, 4. So same like single dimensional array, if you want to initialize any value into the specific cell, you need to use like this. For example, in this place 1, 3, I want to initialize this value 56. Then you need to write array name of 1, 3 equal to 56. So this value will be filled here. The same way, if you want to print that respective value, then you need to write like this: console.writeLine, then here a of 1, 3. So this is the way to print, and this is the way to initialize the value into the single dimensional array. So if you understood this index based identification, then it is very simple. Okay, so shift to the Visual Studio and we see the example here. For that I took a class here, two-dimensional array example. As usual, I added a main method, and let me point this to the startup. Now the example is two-dimensional array example. So first let me create a two-dimensional array. So I'm taking here integer. So we need to store student name also. That is why I'm taking here string type. Then this is separator. The difference is only this separator. Right? Now here then student. This is the array name. Then new keyword. Then string type is here, then string, then I need 2 rows and 5 columns. So this is the declaration of two-dimensional array. Then since here we are storing 2 records with 5 parameters. Same like previous example, I'm taking here name and 3 subject marks, and finally I'm calculating the total and storing into the last index. Okay, so before initializing the values, let me print this two-dimensional array. So do remember, when you want to print two-dimensional array, always go for traditional loops like for, while, or do while. We can print by using for each, but what happens if you are using the for each? So if you are using the for each, we cannot print in this format. Either we can print horizontally or we can print vertically, because for each starts at the starting value, ends at the ending value. So we cannot print in this format if you are using the for each. So always better to go for traditional loops. Right, now to remember, when we want to print in this format, we should have 2 loops, loop within the loop. Right, so for that, as we have previous examples, here I'm taking the loop. The always remember, outer loop indicates the row count. Now row always starts with 0, because we need to identify these cells with the help of index values. So what is the starting index value of row? 0. So that is why we need to start with 0, and it should be less than size, so less than 2, then I plus plus. Then inner loop, it gives you the value. So here int j equal to, here also it is starting with 0, then j less than, size is 5, columns are 5, then j plus plus. But in pyramid type examples, we are printing either I value or j value, but whereas coming to this two-dimensional array, we need to take both I and j values, because this is the way to print the array a of then row comma column. So that is why I'm doing here console dot write. Just I'm taking write only because we need to print row by row. So here array name is student, then I comma z. So to make alignment, just I'm taking here a space, then come outside to the inner loop. Now it prints complete row. After row, what we need to do, we need to come to the new row. So that is why I am adding here console.writeLine. So it gives you the new line. Now come outside to the outer loop. To stay back the screen, use here console.read. If you print, in the sense if you run this application, you can say nothing, because it is a string type, there is no values, so that it prints you default values which are empty. Okay, now this is the printing. Now, if you observe in single dimensional array, we have two ways to initialize the value, fixed values like this. This is one way and this is another way. So we see two types here also. So that is, first one is student, then this is 0 comma 0, it is comma equal to name, it is, so name is 1, then student 0 comma 1 equal to some marks, just I'm giving here 45. In the same way, we need two more cells for marks, then one for total. Now we need to change this to 3, then it is 4. Now give some values. Okay, now the total is, just I'm giving rough total here, it is think 123. Now this is the first record we are initializing, in the sense this first row, 0 of 0, 0 of 1, 0 of 2, this. Now we need to give the values for the second row. Same, just copy and paste and change the row index. Now here I want to change all these, right? All these zeros to 1. For that, we have a shortcut. Just hold the Alt key, then click and select all these vertically. Then replace with 1. Just press 1, replace the value. Got it? So this is the very useful shortcut. Now I'm changing the values to something random. And here this is 66. Now the total, just I'm changing to rough total, it is not calculated. So now this, we have two values, this is the first record value and this is the second record value. Now run, you get the output here. Got it? So here change the name to 2, then run this. So this is one approach, the first approach, in the sense of this approach. Now if you want to initialize like this, you can do same, but here you need to remember we are working with two-dimensional array. That is why I'm taking here a complete flower bracket. Then here we have two rows, so this is for first row and this is for second row. This. Now same values we need to give here. The first one is 1, then this is for marks 1, then marks 2, then marks 3, then this is some total, I'm giving 123. In the same way, this is for second record, right? Now this is name is 2, then here this is 56, then something like 45, then something like 78, and this is rough total 134. So this, now run and you get the output. So this is equal to this approach. So very simple. Here how many rows you want, this is the scope of complete two-dimensional array, and here you need to place row by row. This is first row and this is second row. And do remember, if it is single dimensional array or two-dimensional array, when you are initializing the values like this, you should give the values equal to the column size. For example, if you remove this, immediately it will give you error. Because see here, initializer of length 5 is expected. Compulsory, this value should be equal to the column size. Here also same thing. So these are the two ways to initialize the array statically, in the sense in the time of declaration. But this is not our motto. What we need to do, we need to take the values dynamically. So that we are seeing now, just remove all the unwanted code. Now here what I want to do, I want to initialize the name, then marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, at runtime and I need to calculate the total dynamically, then we need to display all the records. So for that, what I'm doing here, just first I will show a message to the end user, enter student records. So user enters the records. So same logic here, there is nothing new. So I less than row size, then I plus plus. Outer loop always indicates the row. Then inner loop, this is for column. So int j equal to 0, then j less than 5, then j plus plus. And remember here, just we are taking only 4 inputs: name, marks1, marks2, then marks3. That is why we need to give here less than 4. The last one, in the sense the fifth value, we need to calculate dynamically, right? So that is why here I'm taking here console dot. So we need to read the value, that is student of how I comma j. So in first iteration I is 0 and j is 0, so this. In second iteration I is 0, j equal to 1. So in the sense, the once you complete this loop, you're taking the first values, these values. So then again we are coming to the outer loop and I has the value of 1, then we are filling these values. Very simple logic. Just put a breakpoint and analyze what is happening there. Anyway, here the type is string type, so no need of any conversion. Straightly you can initialize the value into the array. So after completion of this loop, we have the 4 values: the name, then marks1, then marks2, marks3. So what we need to do here, we need to calculate the total and we need to store into the last index value. So we know what is the last index value, so that is why I'm giving here I comma 4. So 5 is the column size, so last index value is 5 minus 1, that is 4. Okay, so now, so what we need to do, we need to calculate the total. So to calculate the total, first what we need to do, we need to convert the values into the tuple, because the values are in string format. Like previous example, nothing new, same example. If you want to just copy this, and here you can place here, but here what you need to do, you need to place j in expression. Okay, now here j, that is. Now how we did, just we read the values, same we did, then we need to calculate this, same thing, nothing new. After taking the values, just I'm calculating the total. The total we need to place within the last index value. So total dot to string, because the type is string, so that is why we need to convert into the string. So here we need to do one more modification. Here it is a single dimensional array, but here it is two-dimensional array. So we need to place I comma 1, and here it is I comma 2, and here it is I comma 3. That's it. So what I'm doing exactly, so let me show you. Here we have the name, right? So name. Here we have the marks. Here we have marks. Here we have marks. Here we need to calculate the total. So what I'm doing, I'm taking these 3 values. So how we can identify, this is 0 comma 1 and this is 0 comma 2, this is 0 comma 3. So 0 we are getting from I, that is why I'm giving here I comma 1, I comma 2 and I comma 3. Those values we are converting into the double and we are adding and storing into the total. So finally in the total we are storing into the last index value, in the sense here sum total, roughly think it is something. The same process we are doing for the second record. Automatically it happens by iterating this loop. Okay, now after taking the input and calculating the total, just let me clear the existing content this, then I will display a message student records are this. Now run this, so we see what happens. So here one mistake is, after this we need to read the value, right? So that we missed out. So that is why be careful when you are copy paste. So here it is I comma j equal to console dot read line this. Now run this. So it is asking enter name. So enter the name 1. Then marks 1. Same logic as we implemented yesterday. But here it is two-dimensional array. So again it is asking the name 2, then marks, then marks, then marks. Then these are the two records. Okay, if you want to implement some more user friendly, then add here console.writeLine, enter gth record. So this value we are getting from I plus 1 this. So when you run, so it will ask you like this, enter first record, enter name, so 1, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. Then enter second record, this is 2, then marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. Still, if you want to display these records in a good manner, you can achieve this by adding these statements. So console.writeLine here print some line or some star symbol, whatever you want. Okay, just copy and paste here. Now in between add a header, console.writeLine. Now this is the header. The first one is the serial number. So you not serial number, name. So here full name, then /t for it will give you the tab space, so you can see some feel good UI. So then next one is a marks 1, so marks 1, then /t, then marks 2, then /t, then marks 3, then /t, finally total. So this is a header. After header we are printing the values, and again after values we are placing a line again. Then here instead of space just add here /t. Now run this. So enter name Karthik and marks, some marks. So this is for second record, name is some text, and marks 1, marks 2, then marks 3. Here you can say full name. Then so here if you observe, we need to place here 2 slashes. So that is why here we need to give, otherwise just place here, just align as you wish. Okay, now say 1, this, then 2, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, like this. Okay, still we can enhance this one. So always we are taking here only just 2 records. This we can change at runtime. For that I'm taking here int size. Otherwise you can go with count, int count. So ask the user how many students how many records you want to store, whatever you want, how many records wanna store. So this time user enters some value, that value we need to read into the variable, so it is integer type, so we need to convert this. For that, console dot readline this. Now place this count here in place of row size, here and here, then here. So then how many students, if you want, you can store in this example. Now run and see the final output. How many records you want to store? I want to store 3 records. So enter student records. This is for first record, name 1 and marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. Then this is for second, name, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. Then this is for third, then marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. So this is the best example on two-dimensional array. Just keep practice this one, and the same task yesterday what we have seen here, just two more columns here, one for average and one for result. Same logic apply here. If 3 subjects are pass, then only calculate the total and average, otherwise just show the result like this. So I will give you the clear here. So how many columns we required? We required now 7 columns. So like this, 6, 7. Now this is for name, okay, and this is for marks 1. For example, this. Okay, now all are passed. So calculate the total something and average something. So 1, 2, 3 by 3, and here result is pass. In case if the student is failed, for example tip 4, then 99, then 99, then don't calculate the total or average, just show the result as failed. This you need to implement, you need to enhance the same example with this. So this is end of the arrays. From tomorrow onwards we are going to learn about the collections. See you tomorrow. Happy coding.